He who is over-merciful to others shows himself to be cruel towards himself. Seneca, in our compassion, we must not squander our spiritual strength. Excessive generosity without prudence saps our energy, leaves us exploited, breeds resentment, compromises boundaries, impedes excellence, enables poor choices, and neglects self-care. The Stoics call us to balance benevolence with self-reliance. We must govern our giving with the same wisdom that guides our whole lives. True virtue serves self and others alike. Join me as we examine the overlooked perils of overgiving and how to transform kindness from a vice into a form of mastery. The sage uplifts humanity through discerning and moderate care, beginning first with the cultivation of their own inner citadel. Giving too much drains your energy and erodes your inner strength. The Stoics understood that unrestrained kindness can weaken us. When we give too freely of our time, money, or emotional labor, we deplete our own limited reserves. This excessive generosity leaves us exhausted and diminished. The Stoics taught that self-care is absolutely essential. We have a duty to maintain our physical, mental, and spiritual health. This allows us to fulfill our potential virtuously. If we dissipate our energies through relentless altruism, we undermine our strength and stoic fortitude. Cicero wrote that each person owes it to himself to cultivate wisdom, resilience, and inner tranquility. We cannot assist others if we are fraying at the edges. Seneca urged avoiding exhaustion through moderate habits. The Stoic sage retains vigor by balancing care for others with prudent self-reliance. Unrestrained giving squanders our most precious resource, our personal energy. The Stoics understood that preserving our strength through self-care allows us to be of greater service. Excessive altruism erodes us. With proper self-command, our generosity can be a source of meaning rather than depletion. The Stoics understood that excessive generosity can leave us vulnerable to exploitation. When we give too freely of our time, money, or kindness, some individuals inevitably begin to take advantage. The Stoic sage avoids this by practicing rational restraint in their altruism. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, we must be discerning and reserved in our charity. Some people will endlessly consume our goodwill if we allow it. Seneca cautions that absolute compassion makes us into a tool for the selfish interests of others. Kindness requires discernment. The Stoics call on us to give within proper measure. Unrestrained benevolence signals weakness, making us a target. With prudent magnanimity, we help others while maintaining clear boundaries. This prevents our virtue from being twisted into a vice. According to Epictetus, the sage understands that self-command is the root of effective service. Only by retaining our personal integrity and strength can our giving be purposeful instead of self-sabotaging. With stoic moderation, we sustain ourselves while generously assisting others. Unwise altruism invites exploitation, while wise benevolence uplifts all. The Stoics understood that excessive altruism often leads to resentment when our generosity goes unreciprocated. We give with an expectation of equal return and feel bitterness when others do not match our efforts. The Stoic sage avoids this by tempering their expectations around giving. According to Marcus Aurelius, we must give without hoping for specific responses, focusing on virtue for its own sake rather than validation. Seneca wrote that the wise accept human imperfections. While we control our own actions, we cannot dictate how others respond. The Stoics call us to give freely, yet release attachment to results. We act with benevolence because it aligns with our values, not contingent on repayment. Excessive expectation creates resentment. Moderated giving maintains peace of mind. Epictetus said we control our faculty of choice, not external outcomes. We give graciously, guided by wisdom, not emotions. By focusing on living virtuously rather than transactionally, the Stoic avoids bitterness when generosity goes unanswered. With equanimity, we sustain strength to keep giving freely. The sage understands that true kindness requires setting healthy boundaries. Unrestrained giving leads to depletion and exploitation. The Stoics emphasized self-control as the foundation for effective altruism. According to Seneca, the wise know their own limits and ration their energy judiciously. We set boundaries to maintain our equanimity and integrity. Marcus Aurelius wrote that excessive charity indicates a lack of self-command. True generosity involves prudence and moderation. Epictetus said that emotions like pity can cloud our judgment about how to help others. The sage relies on reason to discern wise boundaries. Kindness without self-control becomes its own vice. It is better to give carefully and deliberately than compulsively. The Stoics see self-mastery as the root of virtue. Only once we govern ourselves through wisdom can we properly serve others. Healthy boundaries prevent our altruism from becoming self-destructive. With inner fortitude, the Stoic sage uplifts the world through discerning and moderate benevolence. True kindness consists of purposeful giving, not endlessly emptying oneself. The Stoics understood that a life of relentless altruism prevents us from pursuing excellence and realizing our full potential. While compassion is vital, it must be balanced with dedicated self-cultivation. According to Seneca, time spent fostering our own growth is never wasted. Each person has a duty to develop their talents and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we best serve the world by being the best version of ourselves. The Stoics saw self-improvement as integral to a life well lived. Education, skill building, and spiritual development allow us to make the greatest contribution. Epictetus said that becoming preoccupied with others' problems often stems from avoiding one's own. True service arises from self-reliance, not self-neglect. The sage understands that only once we have developed our abilities and character can we effectively assist others. With prudence, Stoics balance bettering themselves with benevolence. Our greatest service comes through the elevation of our own human potential. The Stoics warn that unrestrained giving can enable others to persist in unwise or destructive behaviors. True benevolence requires discernment. As Epictetus stated, the sage understands when alleviating suffering is the compassionate choice, and when allowing consequences to unfold leads to growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote that true help means promoting wisdom and virtue in others. Indiscriminate charity often reinforces folly and weakness of character. The Stoics call us to look beyond the surface. Seneca said that what appears compassionate can often be cowardly or self-serving. The sage provides aid aligned with promoting excellence in themselves and others. They know when relief will be counterproductive versus uplifting. Stoicism emphasizes clear perception rather than emotional reaction. True benevolence requires understanding the deeper needs of others. Through wisdom and restraint, the Stoic helps elevate not just comfort, but growth. Practicing proper self-care is essential before we can effectively care for others. The Stoics saw true altruism as arising from self-reliance, not self-sacrifice. As we explored earlier, unrestrained giving of our limited time, energy, and resources leads to depletion. Marcus Aurelius advised first strengthening oneself before attempting to strengthen others. Seneca wrote that proper self-love underlies our capacity to love mankind. Epictetus said that we each have a purpose, which requires focused self-cultivation. Attempting to solve humanity's problems through undisciplined altruism is futile. The sage understands that self-command is the root of virtue. The Stoics find wholeness in purposeful service guided by wisdom. But wisdom arises from self-leadership. Only once we have developed resilience, discernment, and inner tranquility can we be of true service in the world. Stoicism calls us to uplift others through the fruits of sustained self-reliance. With Stoic moderation, our care for ourselves and others becomes aligned. In closing, we have explored 7 hazards of unrestrained altruism through the lens of Stoic wisdom. Excessive generosity without boundaries drains our energy, leaves us exploited, breeds resentment, compromises our self-control, impedes self-cultivation, enables poor choices, and neglects proper self-care. The Stoic sage avoids these pitfalls by embracing rational benevolence. With discernment, they give within their means. With equanimity, they release attachment to results. With self-command, they set healthy boundaries. Their kindness uplifts others while strengthening themselves. Stoicism teaches us to temper kindness with wisdom. Unrestrained giving weakens our capacities. But disciplined altruism allows us to elevate humankind through the fruits of our own self-reliance. We invite you to apply these lessons in your own life. Please like, share, and subscribe for more insights on imbuing your days with Stoic fortitude and purpose. Until next time, stay strong in mind, body, and spirit. The way of the Stoic calls each of us to self-mastery, excellence, and service.